By 26, I hit a $100,000 net worth, and it only took me 2 years working a normal job. Now, most people don't even think that's possible, but I did it without a side hustle or making insane money in the stock market. Really, it just came down to a few habits that I picked up as a broke teenager that completely changed how I handle my money today. And fair warning, some of these might be a little bit too extreme for you guys, but they worked, so I'm gonna share them with you, and we'll come back to this later. So the first tip that helped me save $100,000 by 26 is something that I call rich daydreaming. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. When I was a kid, all the way up through my early 20s, when I didn't really have any money, I would genuinely daydream about what it would be like once I finally had a lot, once I deemed myself as rich. For example, I would make up scenarios in my head like what I would do if I happened to win the lottery and got like, I don't know, 500 million bucks. And it may sound silly, but number one, it excited me a lot because it was fun to think about what I would do with all that money. And number two, it kind of helped prepare me for the future because I knew I wasn't going to work at Chick-fil-A forever and make like $8 an hour. I knew at some point that I would have a big enough nest egg to where I could make smart saving and investing decisions that would actually impact it. And I actually stole this idea from hockey and really just the sports world in general, where before a game, if you sit there and you close your eyes and you visualize what's gonna happen in the game, what you're gonna do in certain scenarios, what moves you're gonna make, that can greatly prepare you for what's gonna come next. And then when the time comes, you're basically just reacting on instinct rather than having to spend time thinking before you move. And so I did the same with my finances. I would plan out how much I have to pay for taxes, what I'm gonna save, what I'm gonna invest, the investments that I'm gonna buy, what accounts I'm gonna put it in. I just thought about all this stuff ahead of time, so when the time came, it was almost instant. Tip number two is I would boycott Amazon way before all the cool kids were doing it. So a few years ago, I signed up for Audible to get their free offer for a book for something like 30 days or whatever it was. I listened to the book, I canceled my membership, and I thought that was the end of it. But then for multiple months after that, over and over again, they would charge me the full amount for the membership for Audible, and I couldn't, for whatever reason, get them to cancel and refund me. I had to go back and forth with customer service. It was a whole mess. And because I was way more extreme when I was younger, this really pissed me off, and I said, I'm never paying for Amazon again. Screw them. And so that's what I did. I didn't sign up for Amazon Prime because I didn't want to buy their products or give them any type of money. And there's actually stats to back this up where if you spend money on a Amazon Prime membership, you end up spending about double what you would every year than somebody who doesn't have it, even though you're getting the free shipping on all of your orders. The second reason why I boycotted Amazon for so long is because they don't have any friction when it comes to buying your stuff. They literally have a patent on the one-click technology, and it's well known already that the easier it is to buy something, the more people are going to buy it because you're giving into impulse buying. And so I would remove all of my credit card information or my debit card information from all websites, especially Amazon, and make it harder for me to buy. I would add friction to the buying process, so then every time I wanted to buy something online, I'd have to type in my entire card number, all 16 numbers. And by the end of the process, I'm like, I don't even want this thing anymore. And then I'd save some money. By the way, you got any games on your phone? Okay. And number three is something I call Christmas cash. This isn't just Christmas, it's pretty much all special occasions. But what I would do with my cash anytime somebody gave me a gift for birthday, Christmas, whatever, is I would make sure that that free money gets invested, not just spent and wasted. Now, to a lot of people, that sounds like a huge bummer, right? Because free money means that you can go spend it, it doesn't impact you at all. But I thought, why not take advantage of this opportunity and go put that money to work so it can grow for me? And even if it was something like $25, I would do a couple things with it. One, I would buy books that taught me about finance or investing or anything in that world. Or number two, I would put it in some type of investment account. I have a taxable brokerage account that I did some trading in, but mainly I just invest in it. And then I also have my Roth IRA for one of my retirement accounts. Any one of those three options I thought were amazing to put some extra cash towards, because the thing that fuels me the most just in my life in general is growing. I don't care about another t-shirt. I don't care about some fun souvenirs or little gifts. I literally obsess over learning and growing. That's more important to me than basically anything. That and Chick-fil-A. So the Chick-fil-A gift card is also accepted. If you've ever heard the phrase, one man's trash is another man's treasure, that is absolutely incredible. If your goal is to be frugal, save a little bit of money, you get what I'm saying. So to that point, I had a friend when I was in my early 20s that I was a roommate with. He bought a house. I rented the room from him. And when I moved out, he decided to give me his couch because his girlfriend at the time hated it. She thought it was hideous and they wanted to give it to me because I also didn't have anything. Now at this point in life, beggars can't be choosers. I thought, I'll take a free couch. That's no big deal. And honestly, I don't really care how it looks because I'm young and in my 20s and what does it matter? It's a couch, dude. They also gave me a gigantic mattress that came with the house that they bought, and it was a king. So double bonus. So I highly recommend getting some friends who are willing to give you some free stuff. You could also go on like Facebook Marketplace. There's lots of like free giveaway groups. So point is, if you look hard enough, you can probably find some really free or really cheap, gently used things that are good enough to get you by while your goal is to save up your first 100K. Number 5 is the 2190 rule, because of this guy right here. The 2190 rule mainly comes from how many years we've had this nice Breville coffee maker and how much money it's saved us. If you're like me and your wife is completely obsessed with coffee and Starbucks and she has to have it every single day, I figured early on this might get a little bit expensive. So why don't I spend a good amount of money, I think this was like $500, on a very nice high quality coffee maker so that she can have good quality coffee every day that she's going to love and enjoy because she loves it so much. And then she won't be asking me if we can go to Starbucks every day. No. So where I get 2190 from is 365 days a year times 6 years that we've had this equals 2190. I also looked up the average cost for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I thought it'd be higher than this. Google, ChatGPT said about $5. And then when I compared that to the type of beans that we get for this that lasts 3 weeks, it's $18 for a bag. That comes down to about 85 cents per cup. $5 compared to 85 cents, obviously a massive savings. If you multiply those differences by 2190, if she were to go to Starbucks every day for the past 6 years, that's about $11,000. Versus if she has this coffee every day for 6 years, it costs around $2,000, a little bit less. So I spent $500 on this. We've saved a little over $9,000 over the course of 6 years. Ipso facto, the 2190 rule. In simple terms, buy high quality, nice stuff that's gonna save you money over the long run. And even better, just don't drink coffee like I do. Ugh, it's nasty. Holy smokes, that's too bright. Okay. All right, we're back under the table for number 6, the no room rule. Like I mentioned before, when I was moving out from living with a roommate and I moved into my very first apartment, it was 540 square feet, single bedroom, super tiny. Now that I own a home, looking back at how small that apartment was, I don't love it. I wouldn't want to go back to that. But at the time, it worked really well for us because we were forced to save money. With an apartment that small, we literally did not have enough room to keep buying stuff. Kind of reminds me of whatever that effect is called, where the more time you give yourself to do a task, like you're gonna fill the whole thing to do it. It's the same thing. Like the bigger the house you have, the bigger the living space, you're gonna notice that things are empty or it's missing something. So you're just gonna fill the space with stuff. So the opposite is true. If you live in a really small area, you physically cannot hold enough in that space. We even had to put our air fryer like in the kitchen, just on the floor, shoved in the corner, because we didn't have any room for it. So if you want to leverage a little bit of human psychology and you want to force yourself to be frugal, buy a small place, rent a very small apartment, and you're not going to be able to buy much stuff. It's not as fun, but it works. Also not fun being under this freaking table. Let's try on top of the table instead. Next is what I call the curiosity effect. This is where I spend a lot of my free time, whether I'm driving or I'm at home, just kind of relaxing, doing nothing, learning from people who I'd like to emulate or be like one day. The easiest way that I did this, especially with driving, is through podcasts. Some of my favorite ones, the ones that taught me the most about finance and investing and just like being more responsible with money in general, is the Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meetings. Very long title, but it's Warren Buffett, the greatest investor of all time, and his business partner, Charlie Munger, two legends in their own right, at their annual shareholder meetings where they just answer questions for like 5 hours straight. Each episode is split up into 2 parts and they're both like 2.5 to 3 hours long. And they have them all the way from 1994 to 2025. Over 30 years of just legendary wisdom from these guys who have just crushed the market, who have destroyed Wall Street for a really long time. And so they just talk about investing, some of the decisions that they make, how they think about the world. And you can learn a lot from 2 old guys who have just dominated the financial markets. It's pretty awesome. The second one is called the Investors Podcast, TIP, We Study Billionaires. This one, they have a lot of conversations of people who come onto the show and talk about whatever it is that they're doing, their investing philosophy. They do deep dives on Buffett and Munger. They've had Aswath Damodaran on, Michael Mauboussin, Adam Cecil, my favorite investor, Gautam Baid. They just have so many people on this podcast, and it's really helped shape how I think about the financial markets, how I think about investing, how I think about just how I should posture myself to build wealth over time in like the most ethical and responsible way. Told you we'd come back to it. Number 8 is checkmate. The whole premise behind this rule is to find cheap or free ways to have fun. There's plenty of hobbies out there that don't cost any money. For example, a bunch of friends and I get together every Friday morning and we do jujitsu in my friend's garage. It's a free way to have fun, to get some exercise, to beat each other up, maybe hug a little bit too much, if you know what I mean. Another one is getting a cheap gym membership. Like for example, the gym that we go to is $10 a month at its lowest level, and you get pretty much all access to everything that you really need. And we've done that for years and it saved us a lot of money. Purely for entertainment purposes, YouTube is free. You can watch just about anything that you want to find, anything that you want to learn. It's free here on this platform. And one of my favorite examples that I started back in 2020 is the game of chess. Chess.com is free to sign up. You can play as much as you want. A board like this is like 20, 30 bucks that you can buy online. And there's so much to learn in this game. You could spend decades trying to master this game, which could be a lot of fun or it could be a waste of your life, but that's a separate issue. The point is there's lots of fun stuff that you can do to save money and also have fun. So Checkmate. Okay, maybe don't choose chess. This game sucks. I can't believe that idiot fell for the 4-move checkmate. Pfft. All right, let's get through the rest of these because I think they're important, but I don't want to waste your time. Number 9 is the liquid law. I've talked about this before. I don't spend money on liquids pretty much anywhere I go. Water's free at any restaurant. I don't love soda. I don't drink coffee. I generally don't drink juice. Like, I just don't see the point. I prefer and really love eating food, so that's what I'll spend my money on. My wife, she loves coffee. She could spend all the money that she wants on coffee, especially because we have that coffee maker. For me, my coffee is more like getting a Chick-fil-A sandwich or a burger or something. Like once a week, maybe I'll crave it, once every 2 weeks, whatever. But if I'm feeling fun, I'd rather eat something instead of drink something. Number 10 is decisions compound over time. Just like investments, just like how they start slow at first and then they speed up and really start to pile on themselves, your decision making works the exact same way. Specifically when it comes to building good habits, like saving money, for example. And I like to use this exercise to picture how effective this really is. And we already saw it with the coffee example where one single decision saved us $9,000 over the course of 6 years. Imagine doing the same thing with everything that's in your house, with everything in your life. There are thousands of decisions every single year that come across our mind, that come across our plate to make, and we get to decide what to do with those. Do we want to move closer to our goal or further away? Conor McGregor has a great interview that he talked about this before he went crazy, where he said those decisions are like chinks in the armor. He's like, every time I tell myself to get up early and I don't get up early, or don't eat that food and then I eat it, or don't drink and I drink it, like you're breaking your trust with yourself. And so it works the exact opposite way. Every time you tell yourself that you're going to do something and then you do it, you're strengthening that trust with yourself, and that builds up over time and it gets easier and easier. The more you say you're going to save before you go spend, the more you say that you're going to invest and focus on building wealth, the easier all this stuff gets. Just like a snowball rolling downhill, it only takes a little bit to get started, and then you watch it pick up speed as it goes. I'll be right back. One of the best habits I picked up was learning from a bunch of experts who have done things that I want to do. So for the past 10 years, I've been obsessed with reading finance books, and these are some of my favorites here that I think could really be helpful to you. Unshakable by Tony Robbins. If you want to learn how to invest in index funds, in tax advantage accounts, and pay low fees and why all that stuff matters, I recommend this to every single beginner. If you have absolutely no idea where you're starting or how to even invest and why it matters, start with this book. It's like 140 pages. You could read it in a day. Super, super easy, very helpful. The next one I think is very controversial for a lot of reasons. I personally don't love this book at all, by the way. It's on my list because I think there's one single page that's helpful. And I'll show you that page right now. We'll see if it can focus here. This is page 88. It's just showing the cash flow of a rich person. Basically, how you're going to manage your money to get rich. The rest of it, don't even bother reading. It's a waste of your time. It just sounds like a bunch of fake stories that he made up. Plus, he's kind of crazy right now. So again, controversial. Don't like that book. The Joys of Compounding by Gautam Baid. He's my favorite investor. He's a fund manager and he invests mainly in companies in India. But I think this has a lot of very tactical and straightforward advice if you want to be in the world of stock picking, which I don't necessarily recommend, but super, super awesome. The Most Important Thing by Howard Marks. Howard Marks is like the Warren Buffett of the credit world. He has a ridiculous track record for like the past 50 plus years. Best thing I learned from this book is how to understand risk. Warren Buffett and the Interpretation of Financial Statements. This incredibly important if you want to be an investor, if you want to learn how to read the finances of a company with the income statement, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement. Like if you want to know how to find companies like Warren Buffett did, incredible book, very, very tactical and very easy read. The pages go quick. And last one, this is one I'm reading right now. I've already read $100 million Leads and like Part of Money Models. This one's insane if you want to start your own business and you want to learn how to market it well and actually make some money. My wife and I are using this on her business right now and we'll see how it turns out. But so far reading this and just watching Alex Hormozi for years, like the dude's a legend. So highly recommend the $100 million series. Number 12 is all about picking growth investments. This is something that I did very early on in my investing career. And it's also something that I learned from part of these books, specifically Howard Marks, is that risk does not equal volatility just on its own. There's more than one way to look at risk. And if you're young and you're going to invest for a really long time, like multiple decades long time, then you shouldn't necessarily be afraid of something that goes up and down a lot, something very volatile, like tech or growth stocks, for example. So in my 401k, in my Roth IRA, a lot of my holdings aren't just plain S&P 500. A lot of them are in index funds that are mainly focused on growth. They're very, very aggressive. When the market goes down, they go down more than the S&P 500, but that's okay because I'm gonna keep buying at that lower price and I'm gonna keep holding for the next 30 plus years. So I'm not afraid of something that goes up and down over time, especially when it has high potential for really good growth over the next couple decades. Also, I work in tech, so I'm very bullish on technology. I think it has better margins. I think we're gonna get more technical, not less, over the next few decades. And so I'm fine with things going up and down. I'm fine with seeing my account drop temporarily because the goal is to hold for a long period of time and just wait it out. But before I ever started investing, I made sure that I had zero debt to be holding me back. I've briefly mentioned this before in other videos, probably like a year ago, but I view debt as negative investing. And I think this is a good way to think about it. We know that if you invest a small amount of money for a long period of time, it can grow to a really large amount of money. But the same thing happens with debt. You're just on the other end of it. So companies invest, they give you a loan and you pay them back interest. So it's kind of the same way that investing in the stock market or real estate works, but the interest is going against you. And most of the time, the interest that you're paying on debt is a lot higher than what you could earn in the stock market. Credit cards, for example, the average rate is like high 20s, 28, 29%. Car loans, if you have a bad credit score, it can also be in the teens or low 20s. And even mortgage rates right now are like around 6%. My house is 7.12%. So if you have debt with any type of high interest, it is just crushing your ability to build any type of wealth. So I followed essentially Ramsey's plan of like get out of debt as fast as possible. And now all my money is going towards investing rather than making banks richer. I'd rather make me rich than banks rich. Simple as that. Let's go this way. Another thing we've done for a very long time is meal prep. A lot of our meals are very cheap per unit because we like to eat healthy. We like to meal prep our food and buy ingredients that are whole foods, very simple to cook. Like for example, for the past, I don't know, 6 years, I've had some variation of like a homemade Chipotle bowl. This is rice, beans, and chicken. That's it. I do put these little guac cups on it and then some salsa. But other than that, it's pretty basic and I'm fine with eating the same thing every day because 1, I genuinely enjoy it. 2, it's pretty healthy because it's basic foods. And 3, it saves us a lot of money. It's one of those decisions that compounds a lot over time. So if you're eating out every single day and spending, 8, 10, 15 bucks on fast food instead of like cooking at home, which only takes like an hour every weekend, you're kind of throwing away money for something that could be used to build your wealth and also keep you healthier. Try it out. If you were to follow the last tip of meal prepping so you can save a little bit of money, then you can do number 15, which is to invest as little as possible as soon as possible. Why do I say invest as little as possible? Well, number 1, I think if you have never started before, then it's scary to put money in something that you're not sure of or maybe you don't fully understand. And number 2, like I've said before, even a small amount starts to grow really quickly before you even realize it. For example, 6 years ago, my wife and I started zero because we didn't have any debt, but we didn't have any money yet. We invested $150 a month. That's where we started at. Now it's way more than that because we've done all of these habits and we've increased our income and we've kept our expenses pretty low. So we have the luxury to invest a lot more. But in the beginning, it's very important that you just start. A great example of this is my son's UTMA account. I put $50 a month into it. It's invested in just regular index funds. And by the time he's 21, he's gonna have like 30 grand in there. And if he never touches again, I think it's gonna end up at like 300,000 by the time he retires. So you put a small amount of money away for a long period of time, you're gonna end up pretty good. And number 16, the final tip is to stay focused on the goal of 100K. And there's a couple reasons for this. Number 1, 100,000 is the hardest milestone to hit. But if you can hit it, you will unlock belief in your mind that you can actually become a millionaire and get there. Like it's crazy the change that happens once you see 6 figures in your account and now you're 1/10 of the way there, especially if you do it in just a few years, because you know that it's exponential and it gets faster and it speeds up over time. Like it's just gonna grow way more than you could ever expect it to, which is pretty awesome. And number 2, focusing on the goal keeps you motivated for it. Like if you track your net worth and you have it on some type of app and you keep tabs on it on a consistent basis, I was kind of crazy and I checked it every single day on Mint, then all of your decisions will start to kind of converge towards that goal. And it's just really cool to see it happen in real time. And if you want the actual framework and steps that I use to hit 100K, check out this video next. Done.